Listen up, you Yinzis. Man, it's been a rough 24 hours, man. It's been a rough 24 hours. I mean, looking at the retrospect of what happened in the last 24 hours for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I can truly say it's been the best of times and the worst of times at the same time. It's been bad. It's been bad, y'all. And it's been good. And it's been bad. And it's been good. I'm going to get into it, man, and give y'all the word for the day. And I can't do nothing else. When I'm at one of these scenarios, one of these places, I can only do one thing, and that's just keep it 100 with you. That's all I can do. Man, listen, I appreciate all the people that's chimed in already. I got mad comments from mad people. I'm going to acknowledge some of y'all. Craig Withrow, man, what's up, man? Dwayne, Claude Bishop, the diabolical one himself, man. What's cracking, Claude? Good to see you, man, in the building, man. Like I said, Craig's here. Luke Cage is here. Tim Lyons is here. Lockdown SP, man. Good to see you in the building. We suck. We freaking suck. I get it, man. I get it. Listen, the last 24 hours have been unbelievable. And I get it. I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. Hey, just a quick announcement. If this is your first time on the podcast channel, on Keeping It 100, or on the KnoItAllz podcast channel, make sure that you like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Share with a friend. You might be sitting around another Yinzy sitting close to you in your office space or all whatever else. Another person just loves the Pittsburgh Steelers to death. This is the channel for them. We are growing like wildfire, but we can't do it without you guys. So we appreciate all y'all who's ever liked and subscribed and shared with any person out there. Mean Gene, man. Steeler Dog, what's up, man? Good to see you, man. Luke K said it's time to clean house. Mean Gene said, Big G, I'm a Steelers fan for life and will still be when I'm long gone. Last night took part of my heart and my soul. Man, I feel it, man. I feel it. Still Elise said, just waiting on some good news from the Steelers streets. The good news is going to be the bad news, which is going to be the good news. I mean, let's be perfectly clear, first of all, because this show is about keeping it 100 with y'all and saying, was the 2025 season a failure or a success? Do we rebuild? Do we reload? It's more or less my State of the Steelers address. Where I'm at concerning the Pittsburgh Steelers, me personally. I can't speak for the other podcast people that I talk with and talk Steelers stuff. Tate, Afton, Kirby, Big B, Triple OG Shannon. I can't speak for any of them. I can only speak for me. Where I'm at is the Pittsburgh Steelers should absolutely move forward from Mike Tomlin not being the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers should move forward without Arthur Smith being the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers should move forward without Terrell Austin being the defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What'd you say, DeVore? Yo, Big G, Steelers are in limbo if they keep Tomlin. Yeah, they are. They are in limbo. They should move forward. Now, I said this last night on the post game, on the 2-minute warning. And I'm going to say it again and re-emphasize it again to all the Yinzies that's listening. Should they? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know that. Should they fire Mike Tomlin? Yes, in my opinion. Will they? They're probably not. There's only one way this is going to happen. This has to go down between the ownership of the Pittsburgh Steelers that's enabled Mike Tomlin. Because they gave him, let's be clear, they gave him everything that he wanted concerning the 2025 Pittsburgh Steelers. They changed up the defense. They invested draft capital. They invested money. They got rid of a so-called problem child in George Pickens. They brought my quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, into the building. They brought in DK Metcalf. They let Arthur Smith install his diabolical 12 personnel offense that just don't work. They did everything that Tomlin wanted to be done. So ultimately, Mike Tomlin is responsible for everything that goes on with the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. It always starts at the top and works its way down. So he's responsible. Let's be clear, okay? And we've seen the continued maturation of the same story over and over again. I mean, Claude, I hear you, but listen, I'm going to get to that in a minute, Claude. I hear you, but I'm going to get to it, all right? We've seen it over and over and over and over again. Mike Tomlin now has tied Marvin Lewis for the most consecutive playoff wins in a row. There should never be a time in history where the Pittsburgh Steelers align themselves with the Cincinnati Bengals. It shouldn't happen. Our historic franchise versus what the Bengals are, no. Those two things should never meet. But Mike Tomlin just tied Lewis with the most consecutive playoff losses in a row. 7 in a row. No, he should be fired. And Claude, this is the point I'm getting to. They're not going to, but there's a way. What has to happen is that Omar Khan and Andy Waddle have to become the bad guys. Omar Khan and Andy Waddle have to remove Mike Tomlin. Because I'm telling you, the Rooneys ain't going to do it. The Rooneys are the ones that created the Rooney Rule. The Rooneys are the ones that created it. Their family's the one that did it. Based on a lot of resistance at the time that the Rooney Rule was created in the NFL. There was a lot of resistance for that, right? So they're not going to fire him. But if they play Pontius Pilate and they wash their hands and they allow Omar Khan and Andy Waddle to remove Mike Tomlin, that's how it's going to happen. I personally believe, in my heart of hearts, this is going to happen in the next 10 to 14 days. Because if it doesn't happen in the next 10 to 14 days, y'all, Mike Tomlin's going to be the head coach when the draft kicks off in April. Ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. He's going to be the head coach. He will be the head coach if it doesn't happen in the next 10 to 14 days. There are so many coaching vacancies across the NFL right now that you will miss your opportunity to actually get the guy that you need to get in there to become the new head coach. Now, I don't agree with this. He says the Rooney Rule doesn't mean he can't be dismissed. Just retire his band and get an offensive-minded coach. I totally agree. That part I do. But the issue is a lot of folks don't understand the complexity of what the Rooney Rule is, okay? The Rooney Rule was created to create diversity and opportunities for people that weren't getting opportunities to become head coaches, including African Americans, including women, including other minorities who weren't getting the opportunity to get not just head coaching positions, but assistant coaches positions, front office positions, GM positions. That's why they created it. So the Rooney family is tied to that. So Art Rooney II is not going to be the guy that's going to get rid of Tomlin. But Omar Khan and Andy Waddle can be the guys that get rid of Mike Tomlin. They absolutely can be. They can be the bad cop in this situation. And I think rightfully so. Steeler Lee, I see what you're saying. If Tomlin talks about the Senior Bowl, he's staying. Agreed. Well, I listened attentively, and this is sort of my second part of it. I listened attentively after we went off the air with the 2-minute warning, after I gathered my thoughts and my thinking, and I listened attentively to Mike Tomlin's press conference. And I was looking for signals that was letting me know what's going on with him. Y'all, Mike Tomlin is not going to be the guy that's just going to walk away. He's not that guy. Mike Tomlin, and I'm going to repeat this. And all for y'all that know, super chats are wide open. So if you want to super chat the channel, I appreciate you supporting the channel, right? So Mike Tomlin is not going to just go off into that good night. I heard it. He made statements like, people outside of the organization and the agency talk too much. He made statements like, I'm not thinking about what's going on with my future right now. He made statements about that we need to really focus on the game. And I saw how some of his players that was interviewed by the press responded, including Aaron Rodgers, right? Mike Tomlin is a very prideful person. So Mike Tomlin is not going to just walk away. It's going to have to be forced action, right? But will it get to the extent of someone firing him? If that's the case, the people that's going to do that is Andy Waddle and Omar Khan. They have to be the ones, because Art Rooney II is not going to be the guy to do it. He's not, whether you believe it or not, just because of the connectivity of how the whole Tomlin thing happened. Okay? Should they do it? Yeah. Claude said, it's not a racial thing. Yeah, Claude, I agree in totality. I don't disagree. Listen, I've been on record to say all along, I wouldn't care if Foghorn Leghorn, Pepe Le Pew, and Bugs Bunny was the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I care about this, right? And so if they go in and they win and they put us in position to compete for divisional titles, to compete for opportunities to win in the playoffs, to compete for Super Bowls, that's all I care about, right? I've been on record over and over and over again to say I'm not the guy that feels that Mike Tomlin is the only coach that the Pittsburgh Steelers can have. Multiple people can coach the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've been identifying, for those that's been dealing with me and watching me and supporting me, I've been identifying over and over again of guys that I want. I haven't really changed on that. I've said Kubiak. I've said Shula. I've said Joe Brady. These are the guys who I would like to see inject themselves into the direction that the Pittsburgh Steelers would need to go. The trajectory. Mean Gene said, Big G, have you considered joining an NFL front office? Would you do it if it was offered? I absolutely would do it. I would do it today. I absolutely would do it today. If I was offered a front office position, I would do it today. Reginald, I don't know about Mentor, man. I don't know about Mentor. There's some reasons why. I ain't got time to get into it today. Right? Craig said, the draft is here this year. Rodgers and Tomlin will come back because the Steelers don't want to talk when they're home. Yeah, but you know what's going to happen if they do that? Let me explain this. Most Yinzis are in shock today. Most Yinzis are in shock. If they let Mike Tomlin get to the draft, they will embarrass the National Football League. Let me repeat what I'm going to say. The local support of the fan base, the national media, and all those individuals that attend the 2026 NFL draft will embarrass the Pittsburgh Steelers if Mike Tomlin is the head coach when that happens. You think that the fire Tomlin chants were fired up before. Oh my God, will they be fired up? They're going to run him out of the draft. They'll run the Steelers out of the draft, right? That's what they don't want, for you guys that don't understand that. That's what you guys they don't want that. They don't want the fire Tomlin chants. But I'm telling, if you thought it's been loud, if you've attended a home game in Acrisure Stadium or when it was whenever the different locations, Heinz Field, and Fire Tomlin was out there, oh my God, you've seen nothing like you will see in the 2026 NFL draft. It will become diabolical with the booing and the resentment towards the Pittsburgh Steelers if they don't move forward with removing Mike Tomlin. Claude Bishop for the $5 super chat, man. We appreciate it. Claude says the bottom line is the Steelers don't want to pay for a guy to stay at home, and Tomlin is embarrassing to the brand. Hashtag fire Tomlin immediately. Claude, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Steeler Lee says that he won't show up to the draft, neither will Rooney. And that's not what the NFL wants. The NFL wants the host owner, the host team, the host coach. They move the draft from location to location to promote those teams. And they started putting in small market areas like Green Bay, like Pittsburgh, to give them an opportunity to continue to foster and push their brand. They will embarrass the NFL shield, and I'm talking about the shield, if Tomlin is the coach. That's why I'm expecting something to be resolved within the next 10 to 14 days. I'm wholeheartedly expecting it, right? Wholeheartedly expecting it. Enough has been enough. Enough's been enough. You tied Marvin Lewis for 7 consecutive playoff losses in a row. And listen, I know for those Tomlin apologists out there, then they say, well, tell me the franchise quarterback he's had over the last time since Ben Roethlisberger walked out of the door. Tell me what he's had to do concerning rebuilding the offense and the defense. Tell me how Kevin Colbert messed up the franchise based on his draft status and all whatever else. Listen, y'all, I'm just going to be honest, and I'm keeping it 100. The common denominator is Mike Tomlin. The common denominator is Mike Tomlin. So you can continue to change all the pieces in the room. Listen, it's almost like having a house, right? And you got a brand new, beautiful house that's got all these nice fixtures and a nice TV set on the wall and nice lamps and nice floor rugs and a new kitchen and all whatever else. And you bring that nasty ass same funky furniture that you had at your apartment when you was a single male and everything went on into that brand new sparkling house. They just don't match. They don't fit. And the trajectory of the Pittsburgh Steelers is you cannot continue to bring the same stuff from over here into over here. And there's a few reasons why. I'm going to go into a couple of them, right? Right? Steeler Lee says, follow the Ravens blueprint. Just put it out there that it was mutual. If it comes out later that he was fired, so be it. Hey, Steeler Lee, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. Claude, I don't. The issue is when you say he can't develop a quarterback, I don't think he's ever had to. I don't think he's ever had to, really, to be honest. I mean, let's face it. Ben was already a little bit had been there. He didn't become the Ben that he was supposed to be, but the Ben that he became was later on up the road, right? Y'all only got about 5% battery too, so I'm gonna have to cut this one short in a minute, right? But the issue is Tomlin has 1 year left remaining on his salary. He's got 1 year. He probably wants to finish it out. Will they let him finish it out? Probably not. In all reality, probably not. And they shouldn't, rightfully so. But the issue is, will they have the fortitude? Y'all, excuse me for moving my tablet around. I done lost power, right? The issue is, will they allow him to finish his contract? I don't know. We will see. I don't think they should, in my opinion. Y'all, give me 1 second. I don't think they should. I don't think they should let him finish his contract. I really don't believe so. And part of that is because we've continued to see the same thing. Now, my last point, because like I said, I got to cut it short because my tablet is out here on the death row, right? Do you give Mike Tomlin 12 draft picks? Do you give Mike Tomlin top 10 free agent money? Nah. You can't do it. You just can't do it. You can't. Not and not expect the same results, right? You're going to have to draft to stockpile the roster in order to insert the franchise quarterback in 2027, because we're not getting it this year. There's 3 quarterbacks in this draft. Ty Simpson, Moore, who hasn't declared yet, but he's going to because Dylan Raiola committed to Oregon, and Mendoza, right? They're not going to be at the top of this draft. I don't care if they take those 12 draft picks and turn it into the top 12. No, you can't do that. You have to build this roster. You need a left guard. You need a couple of wide receivers. You need a green dot linebacker. You need depth in the defensive line. You possibly need a safety and a corner. So hell no. Hell no. You can't do that with Mike Tomlin. Hell no. And what that means from a franchise standpoint, you're going to lose TJ Watt. You're going to lose Cam Hayward. And I got to clear this up too. There's a couple of people in the comments that said, stop calling them wily old veterans. Listen, for you guys that don't know, and you can Google me on this, the average expectancy of an NFL player, a life of an NFL player, is 3.3 years. So when they're 6 years or more, they're actually a wily old veteran, because most NFL players only play 3.3 years, right? Anything longer than 7, they're a veteran. They're a veteran. But once again, people are spoiled and used to seeing legacy players be with Pittsburgh and this, that, and this. It doesn't work like that in the NFL anymore. So these guys, if you get a second contract, you're really that thing. You're really that thing if you get a second contract. So, and that's a veteran, right? That's right, Vic. That's right. Not for long as the NFL. Google me if you don't believe it. It's 3.3 years. Google it, right? So the issue is they're going to have to clean house with a lot of veterans, and you're going to have to make decisions about some guys. Do you give Keanu Benton a second contract? Do you give Joey Porter Jr. a second contract? Do you give Darnell Washington a second contract? Do you give Broderick Jones a second contract? Because these are the guys that's on the fringe that actually need it, right? So I don't think you give them 12 draft picks and then realizing that you're going to have to restockpile this team. I don't even think you give them accessibility to the money, right? But you got to have a new direction and a new coach. And I don't think it's even fair to really look at the evaluation process. Vic, I ain't mad at you. I was saying that at the beginning of the year. And I'm going to clearly point out this. There's a rule in the NFL that you don't let the backup behind you on the field, because he'll show how invaluable you actually are. Based on the trajectory of Jack Sawyer, what we saw out of him out of his rookie year, and what Nick Herbig can do, TJ Watt's too expensive for that position. He's too expensive. You got to trade him. You got to trade him. I wanted him traded at the within the first few weeks of the season. Sat too long, then our people said, we'll never get the value. At this point, it doesn't matter. You got to get off of him for a second or third round. And maybe you might be able to swindle somebody for a first round. But you got to get off of him, and he's too expensive, right? So the trajectory of this team is going to look completely different, what I'm thinking, in the next 10 to 14 days. So it's hard to pick the players that you would want. You can evaluate talent and know the positions of need. But if the coaching staff is the same, then you're just going to get the same results. Just going to get the same results. Same results over and over and over and over again. Same results, right? So I think that the coaching thing's got to get cleared up. It's got to be cleared up as soon as possible in order for us to figure out what we're going to do. But I'm telling you, and you heard me say it, the Boo Birds will be out there like crazy if Tomlin is retained as the head coach during the draft. They will embarrass the NFL. They will, and they don't want to embarrass the Shield. I personally also feel this, and I'm going to leave it alone. It is Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin should go into broadcasting. Mike Tomlin, I know if you let him go, he'd be the hottest commodity. I know that teams like the Giants and the Atlanta Falcons and the mediocrity teams, or teams that are mediocre and never consistently good, would take a strong look at Mike Tomlin becoming the head coach. But I think that he should go into broadcasting. I think he should follow the Bill Cowher trajectory. I think should follow that. Go into that. Give yourself time, right? Give yourself time. But I'm not Mike Tomlin. I can't speak for Mike Tomlin. I can't speak for him. I don't know him personally. My wife has connections to his family. My wife knows his people. My wife's family and friends know his people and family and friends. But I've never met him. Never met him. Never met him. Don't know him. But I'm saying from an outsider looking in, a podcaster looking in, the issue is that it's time for the Steelers to separate themselves from Coach Tomlin. It's time. It's time. And it would be to me the perfect kickoff point. My last point is this. I've heard people become Tomlin defenders and all these other different things and why you should or shouldn't. And I've heard this statement made. And I'm going to go back and forth with Big B tonight on the big show over on Steelers Almighty tonight. Make sure you check us out at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Steelers Almighty. The issue is that once you move on from Tomlin, I think people think that the Steelers are just going to be diabolically bad for years to come. I think that there's enough young pieces with this, with a change in strategy and doing a good draft evaluation and putting yourself in position to insert players. The Steelers won't be as bad as what people think once Mike Tomlin walks out of the door. And I think that comes with a new coaching staff. I think that comes with new stuff. But they're not going to be as bad as what we think. I'm old enough to remember when Chuck Noll walked out the door and when Bill Cowher came in. I remember that. I'm damn for sure old enough to remember when Bill Cowher walked out the door and Mike Tomlin came through the door. I remember all of those things happening. And I remember that there was that doom and gloom feeling over the organization. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, we're going to move forward is what we're going to do. One thing that's been for sure out of the Pittsburgh Steelers more than any other franchise in the National Football League is they have consistently hit on developing and hiring head coaches. Every last one of the coaches, whether you like them or not, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, all have been Super Bowl champions. They all got a ring. They've all been to more than one Super Bowl. It's just true. And they've only had 3 coaches since Chuck Noll. They've only had 3 coaches. So I expect them to be able to get the next coach in. And that will change the trajectory of what the Steelers look like. And I personally don't believe that they will be as bad. People, we're going to be 5 and whatever, or 6 and whatever. No, we're not going to be. We got a lot of young talent. And if you get a new direction as far as a new coach, maybe that person can develop the young talent and continue to add talent into the room. It's not all doom and gloom if you move off of Mike Tomlin. It's not all doom and gloom. That's why I keep telling people it's the best of times and the worst of times at the same time. That, Dwayne, you're absolutely correct. Fans will not lower their expectations. No. They're going to expect, whoever the new coach is, they're going to expect that guy to come in and win. They're absolutely going to expect that. They're absolutely going to, right? Tim, he absolutely didn't ruin a legendary franchise. He absolutely didn't. No, he did not. Did he get long in the tooth? Yeah. Did he stay too long? Yeah, but he didn't ruin them. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Cincinnati Bengals can never be compared. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns can never be compared. The Pittsburgh Steelers, if you go through 17, 18, 19 franchises in the NFL, you can't compare them to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He didn't ruin them. He never ruined them. What happened is there was a level of complacency that happened. There was a level of complacency that happened, but it was never ruined. It was never, ever, ever, ever ruined. We ain't never experienced no 5-12 and no 4 and whatever and can't keep our quarterback healthy and investing too much money in the wrong positions like many of these franchises, including the Cincinnati Bengals, has happened. Let's be clear. You have teams that used to be good from years ago, the Denver Broncos, that's just not getting back. They were horrible for years. The Los Angeles Chargers were horrible for years. Let's be clear, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers is not none of those organizations. And Mike Tomlin didn't ruin anything. What happened is Mike Tomlin stayed with the Pittsburgh Steelers longer than what he was supposed to. Right. Reginald, I hear you. Fans should stand outside the Rooney's office and chant fire Mike Tomlin. They already are doing that. There's already protests. Right? They're already doing that. But the issue is there's more than one person that can coach the Steelers. There's no more than one. There's more than one person that can coach the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's more than one individual that can be that person. And it should be time to move forward. It should be time. Now, whether or not they do it or not, like I said, I don't know. I don't work for them. I don't work for the organization. I don't know. Should it happen? Yeah. Yeah, it should. But we'll see. In the next 10 to 14 days, we'll see. We'll see. What if he stays, it's going to cause some problems. Problems maybe that the NFL doesn't want to have. If he goes, you move in a new trajectory, and we're not going to be as bad as what people think. I'm just saying. It's time for the Pittsburgh Steelers to make something different, to do something different, right? What E.M. Marcus said, fire Tomlin, Rooney won't even entertain it. They love that man. I get that. That's why, as I said at the beginning of the show, Omar Khan and Andy Waddle got to be the two to do it. They got to be the villains. They have to be the villain. There has to be a Pontius Pilate that has to happen to where the Rooneys wash their hands of it and allow someone else to do their dirty work. It absolutely has got to happen like that. If it doesn't, then Tomlin's not going anywhere. But is it time? Yeah, it is. It totally is, right? And I don't think Omar Khan or Andy Waddle is past the point of firing him, right? They don't have ties to him like that, right? But the Rooneys won't fire him. They won't. They won't do it. So it is what it is. Now, I'll say this, and like I said, I'm going to explore a lot of things because there's a lot of hostility and frustration that's in Steelers Nation right now. And a lot of it is because of the unknown. Trust me, Steelers. Trust me, Yinzies. In the next 10 to 14 days, we're going to figure it all out. We're going to figure it all out. And whether you like it or not, whether you want him to stay or to go, we're still all Steeler fans. We're still all about this. We should be, right? We should be. And what Claude say? Yeah, but Claude, that's the problem with Yinzies. It's about the shield. The shield comes first, then the individual franchises, then the owners of those franchises, and then so on and so forth. The NFL is always going to protect itself. Believe me. They're going to protect themselves. That's how it works. It goes the big shield, the individual franchises, the owners of the franchises, the GMs, and so on and so forth. So that's how it works in the NFL. That's business. That's big business. That's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Billion, trillion, whatever. It's a high number. And that's how it works in the NFL, Claude. So you can't be like that. That's my point. Right? And that's what some of the Yinzies is so personal with Mike Tomlin. Mark Tomlin don't owe me $1. He don't owe me a nickel. He don't owe me nothing. I don't owe him nothing. That's why it's not personal. If he moves on, he moves on. If he stays, he stays. If he goes, he goes. That's why it ain't personal. That's why I'm not taking up for him or I'm not pushing him out of the door. It's their decision. I just know what will happen if they go one way or the other. And that's what we need. That's what Steelers Nation doesn't want to have to deal with. Being in limbo. We don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. We want to know, okay, which way we going to go? And I know a lot of Steelers Nations is tired of the same old thing. So let's be clear. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thank y'all for rocking with me, man. We had about, I saw 52, 53 people at some points in this live chat, in this live stream this afternoon on Keeping It 100. Make sure that you share with a friend, you rock with a friend. Make sure you help get those algorithms jumping off for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the the KnoItAllz podcast channel. We do a lot of content over here. Trust and believe we're going to be doing a lot of content moving forward with football. Absolutely. I'll be back tonight on The Big Show on Steelers Almighty channel. And then I'll be back on Wednesday with Pump Your Brakes and Smash the Gas with Kirby and Tay-Boy Fresh and Shannon and Triple OG. Please make sure that you subscribe and like. Make sure you subscribe and like. Last night, I think we picked up about 10 to 12 subscribers. And we could never do that unless people support our channel. So we thank all y'all for rocking with us. And keep in mind, don't nobody got to do nothing for us. And we're appreciative. Thank you once again. I hope all of you guys have a great and wonderful afternoon. Let's keep it all Steelers all times. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Have a great afternoon, you Yinzies. I holla.